how have you felt about spring break? Snow. You notice there was snow over spring break? Turn and talk to your neighbor about how that made you feel. Yeah, it was fun. Nice job. Well, I was a little bit disappointed because I wanted to ride my bike a lot, but it snowed. Well, it made me think that I should bring this book today called Recess at 20 Below, because it reminded me I wanted to be outside so badly, but there was so much snow. So it reminded me of this book. So I thought I'd read it today. So, we've been talking a lot about comprehension strategies. Do you remember what any of them were? It was such a long time ago, before spring break. Do you remember what any of them were? Okay, we learned about nonfiction features. That a caption is a nonfiction feature, and that helps us understand what we're reading. How does that help us understand it?
You have a caption under the picture of people who fight and defend the picture, and put a caption under the language.
You're exactly right. So nonfiction features can help us understand what we read. Do you remember what we were learning right before spring break? Making connections. How do making connections help us understand what we read?
Like, you know how the people are feeling like.
Do you know how they feel? Like a text-to-self connection would help you understand how they feel. Excellent. I forgot to mention that I'm not going to call you by your name. I'm going to call you by your first letter. Okay? Just because you're on video. So that way. So if I say Steve, okay? Okay? Alright, so what I want, the strategy that I'm going to teach you today is good readers always ask questions while they read. So I made sure I brought a book that you would have lots of questions about. So, I want to hear lots of, I wonder, and I want to hear lots of, I'm curious about, those types of words are going to help us ask questions. Okay? So, take a look at these pictures, and think about the title. I'll get back to you. Okay? And think about, curious about anything? Try and talk to your neighbor about what this might be curious about. Three, two, one. Excellent. I heard lots of, no, why would they have recess at 20 below? Well, let me tell you something else. This book is written in America where they use Fahrenheit, so this is actually 20 degrees Fahrenheit. So I wonder what that is in Celsius. I bet it's even colder in Celsius. But that's a question. I'm asking questions while I read, so I'm going to keep reading and see if that question gets answered. Okay? So, when I looked at this cover, I thought, why would they have recess at 20 below? Woo! I grew up in the Midwest, and if it was below 0, we didn't go outside. And that's like a -17. If it was below 0, we didn't go outside because it's dangerous. But here they're going at 29 below, at 20 below. And so, we're not sure how much that is in Celsius yet. So, I was wondering, why would they go out for recess? I thought it was dangerous then. Okay? And I also wondered, I'm curious, what would it be like to live in a place that gets that cold? Oh, you see how I'm asking questions? We haven't even started the book yet. Good readers on their own.
Maybe because they would like to live in the pages in very hot places.
Okay, well, we're going to keep our thoughts in our head. I know your inner conversation is going crazy right now, but we're going to save it until we turn and talk, okay? So take a look. What kind of nonfiction feature is this? Yeah, turn to your partner and talk about what nonfiction is. Okay, it's a map, right? How do maps help us understand what we read? Okay.
You can see where the place is happening.
You can learn a lot from a map, can't you? So this is Alaska. west of North America, Canada, and Alaska. So they're way over here. Okay? Turn to your neighbor and talk about what you think you know about Alaska. Three, two, one. I heard things about snow, and I heard things about it being very cold. Yeah, you might be right. So, now, you can learn a lot from that. And some things that stand out to me is this little red dotted line right here, and it says the Arctic Circle. And we're going to learn a little bit about the Arctic Circle. So, part of Alaska is in the Arctic Circle, okay? Also, right here there's a little key that says that -20 Fahrenheit is equal to -29 in Celsius. Can you imagine -29? Does it get to -29 in Vienna? No. Ooh, it's not cold. -29. Woo! Yeah. If 0 is -17, -29. Woo! Very, very cool. Okay? Alright, so take a look at this picture. And before I even read, my inner conversation is asking also, what's the question? Is your conversation asking? Turn to your neighbor and talk about what does this make you think of? Okay, I heard some questions like, are they going to school in the night? Why is it dark out? These are excellent questions. So actually, I asked the same question. When I read this book, I said, why are they walking at nighttime? And then I thought, what time is it? Now, when we are writing our questions on Post-it, some of you, maybe English isn't your first language, okay? Or maybe some of you, your writing's not the best. You are allowed to draw a little picture. As long as you can explain what the picture means, then that is fine as well. But if you prefer writing because it takes less time, you can do that as well. So I drew a picture for an example, okay? I put a little question mark next to a clock because I was wondering, what time are they walking to school? It looks like it's nighttime. Alright, let's read this first page. The cold takes my breath away and makes the inside of my nose stick together. I tug my scarf up all the way to my eyes. The snow on the ground sparkles like diamonds, and the air is filled with tiny ice crystals twinkling out of the sky. I love the way she writes. You love the way she writes? Can you visualize it in your mind? I can. The snow is twinkling. Crunch, crunch, crunch. When I walk, it sounds like I'm wading through a bag of potato chips. No chance of sneaking up on anyone in this stuff. Ooh, I can hear it and I can see it. This is cool. Well, I read that page and none of my questions were answered. Well, that's okay. We're going to keep reading. Maybe they'll be answered later on in the book. So the author says, I live in Alaska. Ride along the Alaska Highway. Winter lasts a long, long time here. It seems like forever. But really, there's only snow on the ground from September until April. Or sometimes we get a snowstorm in May or even in August. At our school, we go out for recess even when it's 20 below zero. Wow. We have to wear a lot of clothes when it gets that freezing.
No wonder they covered in swimming caps.
Okay, your thoughts until we talk French, okay? Getting dressed to go outside takes a long time. First we wiggle and squirm and twist into our thick snow pants. Then we pull on our winter boots and zip our parkas as high as the zipper will go. We don't want any cold air getting in. Our conversation wonders, how long does it take them to get dressed? Look at all the stuff they're putting on. Turn to your neighbor and talk about how long you think it might take them to get dressed. Next comes the hat. Some hats cover our whole winters to put on all those clothes, our mittens or gloves go on last. Alright, so you see how I'm writing what I wonder on Post-its? I want you to do the same. So I brought in some clipboard with some Post-its on it. And I want you to use your inner conversation and start wondering as well. Sweet OB. You can take a pencil and start passing it around. Oh, you have it? Oh, you're so good.
I don't have.
You don't? I'll give you one. That's okay. You'll see, because I'll make eye contact. Okay. Not stop.
No, I
You don't start with that.
You don't poop. Pass that back to the second D. Here you go, R.
No, there's a first thing.
Here you go, J. Okay. So, I want you to write down just one thing on one Post-it that you're already wondering about or something that you're curious about. Okay, so jot down one thing or draw a very simple picture. Okay. Okay, so you have questions about the book you got? So wondering means that you have a question about it. Yes, that is an excellent thing to wonder. That's an excellent thing to wonder. Sure, if that is something that you're wondering as well, that's fine. We're going to hang on to them today because since they're questions, we may find the answer later on in the book. And when we find the answer, we're going to write it on that same Post-it, okay? So hang on to them today. Normally we stick them in the book where we find them, but today I want you to hang on to them. Excellent wondering. Excellent. Super. Okay, so we're going to keep reading. And as we read, you may find that your inner conversation asks a question, and you are able to write it down. But do I want you to fill up all your Post-its right now?
No.
Just wait, because we're going to hang on to them today. Normally I take them, but today we're going to hang on to them because we might be able to answer that question. And then we're going to put the answer on that same Post-it. All right, let's keep reading. Finally, we're ready to go outside and play, but I can hardly move in all my winter gear, as I am a big sumo wrestler. You know what a sumo wrestler is? Oh, that is a really excellent thing to wonder. How do they play in all of that gear? It's a really excellent question.
I told you.
As I waddle down the hall, I usually see someone run back to go to the bathroom. Sure hope they make it. When we get outside, I look for my friends. All I can see is each other's eyes, so it helps to remember what color they are wearing. Samantha reminds me of a giant pickle in her green parka, and Megan, who is all dressed up in purple, looks like a jar of grape jelly. I wonder how they recognize their friends. They just see their eyes. Maybe the color of their eyes. Maybe the color of their parka. You know this is a parka. What B is wearing right here. Go. Now they're in a warm one. It's fun to go sledding during recess. Every time it snows, our maintenance man clears the snow from the parking lot and dumps it in the middle of our playground. The sledding hill grows and grows all winter long. After a few months, it seems like Mount McKinley, the highest mountain in Alaska and North America. We climb up to the top and jump on our sled. Yippee! That fun.
That is cold, I think, really.
Sometimes we play on the swing. But by the middle of winter, the snow gets so deep, there's no room for our legs. That guy, there's no room for his legs. Laying on the snow. down the slide, it's covered with ice crystals that sparkle like glitter. It's like sliding down a glacier. A glacier is a big, giant ice cube in the ocean. Is your conversation wondering anything? If it is, then you jot it down. Jot it down and write it down. We are just practicing. We're practicing making our inner conversation think of questions as we read. Because good readers ask questions while they read. Okay?
Now, since it's so cold, it seems like the colder, the more snow, the more fun they have.
Oh, maybe the more fun they have. I wonder if they have more fun. That's an interesting thing to wonder. Yes.
But she's looking on that.
Okay, hold on. Hold on. All right. When I look at this picture, my inner conversation goes, oh no, because I have some background knowledge about when it gets this cold outside. Don't ruin it. Don't ruin it. Turn and talk to your neighbor about what you think might happen on this page. 2, 1. One person raise their hand. Tell me what they think can happen.
I think that she's gonna lick it and her tongue is gonna stick.
Oh, you might be right. You might be right. And so I'm thinking, my inner conversation is wondering, how are they going to fix this problem? How are they going to fix this problem if she sticks her tongue on that piece of metal? Hold on, let's read. And let's see if I know you're about to explode. Well, let's see if reading will help me answer my question. Okay? When it's this cold, we have to be careful never to touch our tongue on something metal. It will stick. Then the teacher will have to use a hair dryer or pour a glass of warm water over it to get your tongue free. How embarrassing! Okay, so I kept reading. Was I able to answer my own question?
Yes.
So what did we find out? How can that problem be fixed? How can that problem be fixed? What did we just read about, Em? Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. Watch what I do. On that same glue stick, I'm going to put an A with a circle around it, and I'm going to write the answer. Because I just answered my own question. Okay? So the answer was to use a hair dryer or warm water. Why do you think that would help? Nope. You don't have to write anything right now if you don't want to. Okay? I am just answering my own question. Use a hair dryer or A. Why do you think that would help?
Because a hair dryer dries out and like it makes the hair go warm again and dry.
Because it's warm. So do you think the warmth will help the tongue from the frozen metal? Yes, Kay?
Well, if you're at school, where would you find a thing to dry your hair?
That's an excellent question. I do not know the answer to that. Do you think that they keep hair dryers just in case for emergency?
Yeah.
No, I don't know. That's a really good question. That's a really good question.
Maybe they have it because the teacher does her hair in class.
You know how often I do my hair in class? All right, let's keep reading. And snowball fights aren't as easy as you might think, where the air is so dry. When it's really, really cold, our snow is like powder. You can't even make snowballs. But we like to throw it in the air anyway. We toss up fluffy snow clouds and through them. I wonder why we can't make snowballs with it. So you're wondering something from the same reading about it. So, probably today. I would like to mostly have a few questions, just because that's what we're practicing. Why, if you're in a conversation with some connection, what connection are you in? You ever tried to make a snowball and it was too dry and powdery and it wouldn't form into a ball? So you're using your background knowledge. That's good. That's good. Okay, let's keep reading. See if we can answer some of these other questions. So I've asked some other questions up here, and they're not quite answered yet, except for the one that I had about Celsius. Okay. When the wind blows, the snow gets packed hard, and then we can break it into chunks, like giant bricks. We stack the chunks to make forts that go high above our heads. Inside our forts, we keep nice and warm, even when the wind is howling outside. Sometimes we make tunnels in the snow too. When we pop our heads out, we look like little bear cubs spying on the action. The only bad part is when the snow gets down our back while we are tunneling. Whew, that's cold. I wonder if it's really warm in this snow. They're made out of ice. Our snow doesn't get that deep, does it?
Then you just go up.
Maybe. Turn and talk to your neighbor about what you're wondering so far in the story.
I wonder how those
Okay, so I'm running out of time for today, so I'm going to kind of skip through some of these. So they say here that their breath, which is a little bit moist, it causes their eyelashes to get icicles. Isn't that cool? Yeah, it's like glitter on. And then she talks about how one day there was moose on the playground, and then they couldn't go outside. Yeah. But I really want to get to this page because this page is going to answer one of my questions from the beginning. Okay? So our recess is always at noon because it is the sunniest time of day in my part of Alaska. It isn't very bright though. More like the early evening. The sun rises and sets just in 3 hours. 3 hours! So why were they walking to school in the dark? Was it nighttime? Oh, if the sun is only up for 3 hours, even then, it looks like it's almost evening. Okay? So the answer why they're walking in the dark? Because there's only 3 hours of sunlight. So I'm going to write that down here. Okay? But we're going to go ahead and we're going to shut the video off, but in our remaining time, we are going to take and write down all of the answers that we were able to find in the book. But then I have a poster here for all of our lingering questions. Because sometimes we ask